Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Poetry Foundation's first event of 2022, the Open Door Reading. My name is Noah, and I am the Events and Accessibility Coordinator at the Poetry Foundation. My pronouns are she or they, and by a quick way of visual description, I am wearing a black shirt, a pink jacket, a single earring, and a black choker, and I'm in a blue lit room. The Open Doors series presents work from new and emerging poets and highlights writing instruction and poetic partnerships. Each event in this series features readings by two Midwest-based writers and two of their current or recent students or writing partners. Tonight, we are really excited to hear poetry by Kofi Antwi, Jesse K. Baer, Louise Akers, and Tariq Shah. We would like to begin by recognizing that the Poetry Foundation building is situated on the occupied original homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Potawatomi, and Odawa nations, among other Indigenous nations. Indigenous people continue to live here today, and Chicago is home to one of the largest urban Indigenous communities in the United States. While we are meeting on a virtual platform, it remains crucial that we recognize the stolen resources and land that enable us to connect tonight. We gather recognizing that some of us are settlers on colonized land and that this land acknowledgement is just one small part of disrupting the colonial structures in which we are living. A few accessibility notes. To access live captioning, you can click the CC icon at the bottom of your screen. Alternatively, you can view captioning in a separate window at the link pasted in the chat. Additionally, tonight we have two ASL interpreters with us who we will pin and spotlight alongside the speakers throughout this event. If you encounter any technical issues and need support, you can raise your hand and someone from the events team will privately message you. This event will be recorded and we will post it on the video page of our website for public viewing later. Your camera and mic, however, are not being recorded. We invite you to treat this as a relaxed virtual space. Feel free to do whatever you need for your body and mind to be more at ease. If you need to eat a snack or go to the restroom or call a friend, feel free to step away. Take a second now to make yourself 10% more comfortable. And now, let's get things started with the first reader tonight, Kofi Antwi. Kofi Antwi is an African-American writer, educator, assistant editor of Black Arts Movement Reader, and author of Tidal Wave. Antwi's devoted work to inner city communities has established a relationship as facilitator of writing workshops that explore lyrics and memory as entries into one's writings. His writing has been featured in a Staten Island arts exhibition, Know Me, an exploration into one's identity through the lens of creative arts. He was also a featured performer at Snug Harbor's Porch Play. Antwi's poem, Vintage, was nominated for Best Poem on the Web, and his writing has been published by Great Weather for Media, No Dear, Rigorous, and various literary magazines and journals. Please give a warm welcome to Kofi Antwi.
Good evening, beautiful world. My name is Kofi Antwi, and today's reading is presented by the Poetry Foundation. I would like to give a thank you to Noah for sending this invite for us to read for tonight's reading. My name is Kofi Antwi, as I stated. My pronouns is he, him, king. I have a blue dress shirt on. I have brown, bold, African skin. Tonight's reading, I'm going to read some poems from my debut chapbook, Tidal Wave. So I will start with one of my favorite poems titled Vintage. parents can't fathom what black is. I'm rooting for everyone black to praise their skin. The dystopian perpetuates rivers forge mind, matter to pieces of fragments. I'm blacker than black or blue-fi. Kids are dancing and shuffling. I don't have a buck to give, no more or less. I give what has been taken. Next stop, 2/5, and everything is depleted. So the next poem that I'm going to read tonight is titled, All Hail the City of Doom. Downtown, wheat bypass ditches, potholes, engraved a slender terrace, clench stenches of grinded coffee. White boys and girls squander forefathers' commandments. Construction workers squat aimlessly on dainty street curbs, laughing. Bay Street pimps hustle work, selling perpetual sins. We condemn and flood corners. We are all living in our last days. The unholy man rattles his cup, exposes hardship to privilege, drunk or not. North Shore police officers unlawfully stop and frisk, bash skulls. Unruly clergymen push dope, strike their wives, lie, and cover it up. All hail the city of doom, an island constructed for not us, but chokeouts, and the greater America that doesn't include us. So I would like to shift from some of my poems in tidal wave to some of my newer work. Inner city kids have something to say too. I was born before Jesus. On street corners, men pose with their gangster strolls, laugh at jokes that are no longer comical. Son, you don't have shit on me. These streets are hollow like mended friendships. I could beat the devil at their own name. The man in front of the deli's hat tipped back like a pimp's plush posture. Beatboxing is a blood sport, and streets keep calling us. Faces begin to celebrate life when a homie gains his wings way too soon. So let's continue to the next poem. This poem is titled The Lord's Prayer. Behind, a street walker bypasses occupants. Inside cars, trucks, matter and space. Calculate distance, seem to separate us. People are debating by a vacant church, the church roof weathered blue like Lady Liberty. There are windows here. An idle bench occupies a man flaring arms towards us. He sits silently. Violence seems to be a form of communication. Back to the wall, a building stands stone cold. Steve could be a name. A name is to kinships of beginnings. Today his legs bend by the crease of dawn. Perplexed, I watch him live beneath us, our land, a field of dusty green grass. It stops there, behind Graham's kitchen mitt replenish the tiny garden. Through the window, I see him. Hopefully, we exchange sights of acknowledgments. A poem reveals syntax, breaks and line placements begin to develop voices, are embedded in heads of crazy ones. I've overheard Exhibit Z speak out of his bottled up hands. Between us, a net collects time and dust. A street cat hisses, the older cats mingle aimlessly. By the lobby, they, like us, are looking for a good time. So we're getting closer to the end of my reading. I have two more poems that I would like to share with us. we will start with the Lord's Prayer. I already read that. A letter to Martin. Deep in the ugly process of deprivation of waste, Martin had a dream with Allah as witness. We shall see it through. And Gina, not my mama's biscuits, or story of horticulture's perseverance. Bloom. By spring and summer, snakes reveal such colorful ways to describe death. My friends are all black. Some are white. Some sing poems to me. Others are doomed by an island. We separate from things that no longer serve us. My skin, smooth as shea butter baby number 2, is inclined to see us much sooner than we think. 4 letters will save us. Secrets are like family and friends living within chaos. I have what is essential, but search under beds. I'm a kid to God, a son of Jehovah. Rest in its benevolence. The evening sun purges my skin. My mother calls out to me. My father says goodbye. So I would like to end today's reading with a poem dedicated to my family, my beautiful wife, Alicia, my son, KJ. They have inspired me over the last few years to continue my writing and just dive a little bit deeper into who I am as a poet. Light years at bay and bloom. What is preordained pardons a sea of regrets. An interval. Enter the 36 chambers, perplexed. Comprehension fleets or is absent. Spirit is questioned. Solace riddles a poet. Love is love or war bargains power. The tide submerges our faults. We dance and toil the fruit and bear witness. November the 21st day. A crescent smile suspends perpetual sky. Space prolongs fixtures. Before men feast, we prepare a table in riches of laughter and joy. There's an art in poetry and assembling the gods. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. I want to say a few words for Tariq, and I've known Tariq for quite some time now. We were partners at St. Joseph College. We worked together as writers at the MFA program. He's a wonderful writer. I've learned so much just spending time with him over the years and picking his brain through literature and just life in general. So I'm happy that I'm able to share this moment with Tariq today.
The next poet who is reading tonight is Jesse K. Baer. Jesse K. Baer received his MFA from Brown University in 2017. He was born in Georgia and grew up beneath Southern power plants. He is the author of the chapbooks Holodeck 1 with Magic Helicopter Press and At One End with Essay Press, as well as the collection Midwestern Infinity Doctrine with Apocalypse Party. He has been included in journals such as Prelude, Pinwheel, Bathhouse, Based, The Tiny, and Bone Bouquet. He loves horses. Please welcome Jesse K. Baer.
Hi, my name is Jesse K. Baer. My pronouns are he, him, his. I have long, wavy blonde hair, and I'm wearing a black sweater, and I have freckles, and I'm sitting in a white room with a little bit of curtain showing behind me. Thank you so much to everyone reading tonight for joining me, and to all the attendees. Thank you so much to Noah, who helped put this event together, and everyone else who participated in organizing it. I really appreciate it and the opportunity to be here and share this work with you. So I'll go ahead and get into my poem. So this first piece is called Cavaletti Troubadour. 1. Dimming, the night falls, cavalcando, the trellis petals tried, the ribbon tatters, a voset, eithering themselves is withering reverse atomic, a vibratile plucked, the stem pulsed, an alveole wind quarried, nacreous, passacaglia, inarticulate fusion, longing fragments spattered to rim-shored debris, cupping fingers cusp and gone, broadcasting the magnetic recoding, chance the muscles slid limpid, clusters relapse, clasping circlets, your hair tendrils, the word forages, ray and an ash end halos, one half shells, the vacuous, reverberant, pearls tissued, running silences, radiated a dear potentials collapse, modulating frequencies and ghost, shadow transmissions, the rust belt smoke stacks smothered, shaved grain waves oscillated, residue wedged, syllables rotted in, iridescence, music, washed leaves, the body tonic assembled from grace notes, proffered liturgy, reintegrating the exhumed, a self-distilling, seep-sea, natured, the cratering surfaces, eidolons, what else? Some rust-rotted salvage gutted the wind, its own signal source, shatters a reflexive, the mirror buried, bust tree entered each and other tree, osculated, sunk, mineral eyes as tillage, scoring, overturning scripts, before arms, the chain-linked honeysuckles to a deer. Quarter crossings to Ford Rivers, Popple mudflats thatch, chords returned, tuning sounded, black soil overturned, rock in counterpart, a fracture gradient measures tension. 2. Cantors circles, the Rowan horses dawn, abridged music, the fire builds its heft, shiver miracles, diapasons divided in, counterpoints strike the crux, rescended, this re-echoes a horse-sized grave, the sky vaults upended, earthworks, the figure synonym, hilted, stemming, recurrent, it shreds, the Dolan fulcrum, illumined being, becoming and being, coming through signals, reworded, names the magnetic field registers, reverses polarity, the mineral wrecks underground, polymorphic, magnetic remnants, mnemonic remnants, the lattice wrecks, its cliff, music, coast-like ships you stave off, a fire, trailer fire, weed, be inside a trailer, fire the plane, a fire, trailers, tease, I'm a ghost, tease here, trailers, she's alive in the Cavaletti 3, when I was no word, the horses combed the sea apart, searching towards you. Thank you so much. And I'll be reading one more piece, which is called Jessie K. Baer, Do You Want to Be a Spaceship? 1. Traced erasure till filigree dawn tucked under, reversing by knee in a big grave sinks earth empty dew, float tooled, the wind teething shoulder emerged, dissolution forest, frozen flame, sequencing, glacial till music cliff. And then there's a footnote here in the poem on music cliffs. The repeated use of the enjambment broken term music cliffs is meant to alert the reader to the imminent presence of a promontory that culminates in edge that is a diapason in the Psalter music. Read his salt broken florets cuts, touch breaching, stationing intervals, leaves eddied the elision, stroked ember silences, barges, fumed bedrock, focusing facets, the minerals flared, tissues weft, a refluent hush, the molten pour, scooped cell from shadow figurating, sonorous foam, bespent, scaffolds, the waves transition to phase-dredged gland, light wobbled, cut ribbon, the blasting charred canebrake, the mirror pleated in irreflexive festooned with garlands, an errant center, the yew gardens, a negative echo loudening its sunk volumes, lived all prefigures, slow lightning, guttered limbs, re-echo deep ending, to hold you withheld, mineral vestige, ached in the planetile slump, orbital combust, a recursive self, still studs relapse coral, the lithosphere voltage reflecting the engine's doom-broken machines, to wed fire, weld fire, held with held fire, wed. Jessica Baer was aboard fire. There are birds here, either side in wound defaced. Oh, foam, oh, I am foams. I was a clattering of leaf stem pulled bell blossoms forth, what names we force fielded and return again, boat docks, erotic, neurotogenics. He's performing magic sleights. It minds the hold to turn out from. Whatever shudders into the night, come looking to burn, this is evocative, the barn down of the neo-expressionists, a car thief fractured, the cattle films. There's a note on raptured, also at the bottom of the text, a footnote that says, my grandmother could not get Jesus on the phone. The trees whispered, it's him. In the southern prefaces infernos, all sink slipped. I'm pitch pulled, darling, carry the anchor where we were semaphore. A smoke signals an island absconded light, a cratering things, and we're deserters, we tourniqueted. Oh, dimly ancillary shadows the knuckles scooped, and we drove webs across ridges, the earth interred, its face enters the dust bowl, extinction events, a lyre elides its strings apex. In an interlocutor, we waited in the mountain. Heaven cave averted its twisting reef face, and is drugged down the lines I was a rescending to. A million years, the earth face venting tussled forms I don't want to be a spaceship again. The dead ferried.
All right. Wow. Thank you. You can find more of Jesse K. Baer's amazing work at his website. We'll post the link in the chat. And up next, we'll hear from Louise Akers. Louise Akers is a poet living in Brooklyn, New York. They earned their MFA from Brown University and received the 2017 Keith and Rosemary Waldrop Prize for Innovative Writing and the 2019 Confrontation Poetry Prize. Their chapbook, Alien Year, was selected by Brandon Shimoda for the 2020 Oversound Chapbook Prize. Akers' work can be found in the Berkeley Poetry Review, Midterm, Bat City Review, Fugue Journal, Confrontation Magazine, Based Journal, and elsewhere. Their next book, Elizabeth, The Story of Drone, is forthcoming from Propeller Books this spring.
Thank you, Noah and Alex and Christine and everyone at the Poetry Foundation for having me. My name's Louise Akers. I use they pronouns. I'm a white femme person with long blonde hair and wearing a black shirt in front of a white wall. And you can see my white greyhound moose behind me to my left. And what an exquisitely intimidating task to follow Jesse. I've known him and admired his work for a long time. And it's really amazing when you actually get to be friends with someone that you are so enamored of their genius. I'm going to read some poems from Alien Year, and the first one is called Alien Year. I had it written down that meaning cannot pre-exist operation. And reading it again, I mapped a shift in my intent to be ungovernable, how a diachronic relic cannot exist without its archive, and how the objects making us afraid emerge historically, an open concatenation of and. Most things are easy to find here. I can make out one or two fences in the dark, a long way out toward linked estuaries, clean and sparsely furnished ranch houses, yet where are the filters and grids that permit human organs to be sensitive? That interests me. In a year of zealotry like this one, seasons can be harmed simply by wearing them. Thus, rain is not a punishment, but a falling armored into spring, rough and wedded to the verge. This one is called Shark. I love to wake up inside my most luminous skull, and then below in eyelids, oh, big, beautiful eyelids, coeval as justice, just as kissing so fast we are manifold and stunned. Shame has a temperature like trust, like playing door to door with compensatory movement. You and I have yet to be invited in. I wonder when I want to suck the plaque from your particular pink gums and teeth, where in my mouth I should approach it. My teeth are clean. I move to let the window out, the washroom wasp, alas, the window's shut. The dehumidifier drinks down its great reservoir, drains out through its green webbed hose. And I am thirsty again. I am ticking like a murder that takes place inside a city, the acceptable hot rod bunch of talkers just across a war. I told you, people can fill up with anything. A field of longings translates into temperatures, almighty ones, the yellowing appeal of being burned alive, outside again outside of longing, days of standing in your doorway, taxiing the mirror over and over your threshold again. A dark pink ore is welded to the surface of a deep, conniptive drumline sea. My grip is loosed and glows against your treatise. We could knock these motherfuckers on. We tick the answer no. It was a no. It was a hemorrhage, red length of a dark shark. Under the toe, the hollow-finned and tracking insect, larger than your skull, the fish, like your pink gums. Behold. 1, the family of screamers, you and me. 2, the tree which you resemble, which you love, its arc that reaches silent out over to overhang the water. 3, the God which sinks with you, enough to evidence our world outside, our world aloud. Sharks don't fill, they ventilate. They ram the fear of enterprise. They oscillate from first crescendo toward the fall zone of restraint. I find close to an action. Glimpses keep me running with you. This one is gallery. I saw her and thought out the corrective logic of her spine, the stillness bird moths need to land, a strange superior metaphor. I wanted the whole gallery to myself, soft with horse studies, gentle ink shift modems, left-hand skeletons, examples of a home. I thought, how long is the interval of light in the galleries, of air through webbed vents in the eaves? I did not know that I could be so still. A field of cowardice extends, a slow, great dissolution of light by forced air. I wanted every gallery, the complete circuit to myself and her depicted there, caught in its center. I cried out, let her put her shoes on. Let the water open vertically and never reach her calves. Let her come home to stay. All right, I think I have a couple more. This one is the passion. I find it hard to believe I am going to die. An animal in an accident-rich environment, a priori foundation, a limited foundation. I idolize the word air, the glide of the sheer water. I have a tendency to surpass myself. The passion of life is creatively outdoing it. I am hulled, the spirit, the hull is split, the center ceases in perfected reception. Oh, I am not an oarsman, but I have a memory for contests, to follow, to let pass. I was only ever thinking about you, you know. But care is soft and punishable. Doctor, poet, angel, plaster, steel, caldera, fallen verdure, heritage and selter, the silence of the sun. I level in recursive return. You only showed me love. The hands. What I love the hands pointing toward the mouth. I was accidentally touched, ingested, joy burst out, and I fell clattering into this small category of hope. What I love the living, too late, how we're human now is your human intervention, a withdrawal from our internal animal, our right to know. The leaky things that simper just inside discrete sensation and revelation and slow agitation come out steadily from under the door. I wallow in them, red to the ankle, caught in the year. I have one last one. There is something like a need. There is something like a need to furnish this room, like a must to take the stairs, a must to follow every reddening stare down from the spiraled colors of a heavenly shift just lit. This room pools like a green alphabet, green as the emergent from the dusk green pool, integral pool. This room feels like a shadow, like a basin of white spiders, a damp beach, cool day. Like the soft gush of faint-heartedness once realized. Needs must, like I've got to eat, I've got to rise, you've got to run. And supinate, I watch my heart exhaust itself and stall before the white-green surge. And now I've got to eat. I feel the cumulative exhaustion of fearlessness in extraordinary weather, in your fully preferable storm. You who watch daylight pool in honorable indecision, who diffuse your eye into the long green pool of intelligence, and the song and the ferociousness of the song are no longer enough for you. And the tender color, the afterword of the struggle, disenchantment and the enchantment of new furniture, deliquesce and water over them themselves. Thank you, everyone.
Tariq Shah is the author of Whiteout Conditions from $2 Radio, a Best of the Net award nominee. His work also appears in or is forthcoming from Whiskey Tip, Diagram, Jubilat, Heavy Feather Review, Shirley Magazine, No Dear, and I can't speak now. New Moons, Contemporary Writing by North American Muslims Anthology, edited by Kazim Ali from Red Hen Press. Without further ado, Tariq Shah.
Thank you, Noah. I really appreciate it. Hey, everyone. My name is Tariq Shah. My pronouns are he and him. I'm a biracial person wearing a black winter cap and a camouflage t-shirt, and I'm in a nondescript bedroom. The first poem I'm going to read is collected in this new book that came out from Red Hen Press. It's called New Moons, Contemporary Writing of North American Muslims, chosen by Kazim Ali, and it's untitled. And where is the pure and holy mosque now? Where are the blubbering uncles soaking their snot-slick beards in holy vows? And who protects the nurse from her doctor's frivolous malpractice suits? And what dawns as her parents endure 5 open-heart surgeries between them? And to whom do the black-clad chutki wail? And what becomes of daughters who convert and speak wonder-bred Arabic and insist upon Christmas trees? And who sees when Grandma Shaw's Thanksgiving fit pulls her son from his hot soup to mount and bash her shape back into dutiful, invisible silence? And who is Bob besides a widower, plumber, semi-retiree? And what happens to his glasses she means to plant like a bulb along the Silk Road someday once the weather cooperates? And what happens after the earthquake gobbles up my 30,000 blood relatives? And what happens when forward, backward, side to side demand I march in circles? And how to call glottal, throat gurgled calls to prayer songs? And where go those months of fasting saved up like stacks of cash cooling in the heaven bank? And who lifted his prayer beads, his prayers? And has anyone told his first wife, the cousin wife, arranged without consent? And what do we do with these miscarriages? And where does his name go after leaving our lips for the last time? And what happens to the buttermilk now that no one drinks it? And what is left to return to? And what does his daughter recall of her father on Eid al-Adha? And what sprouts up from the ring of baby teeth she interred in the soil of the house that rots where it stands? And what happens to the spectacled man I mistook for the archangel Jibril when I learn he is just a janitor? And who needs 99 names? And what is this doing to us all? And why has no one come? And what will return his normal color? And what comes to surahs recited by children who speak in the tongue but cannot swallow it? And what won't we all fall for? And can you please spell that? And is that not his lucky undershirt worn thin as gauze across the sky? And what to call this? What is this other than the afterlife? And what about the Benz? Who drives the dead home from the optometrist? And what happens once the pipes freeze again? And what on earth is making that smell? And will they wait while I purge this thumbtack balloon? And how can the kinks be haram? How can baseball, how can standing on a chair be punishment? And how did anyone get through those holidays liquor free? And when will Bush return dad's checks? And I wonder what would father's father find within me? And in which direction is Mecca? And one of the good ones? And is anything easier than apostasy? And what to serve up this cold hole to make it shut its trap? And how do I fold my love in a meat locker? And who is that in the corner in the cloak in my dream? And when will the coast be clear? And is he able to think now that we have all skipped town? And to what depth must I dig to hit good clay? And where do my first 15 years belong? And how long can I keep his final breath before it spoils? And whose turn is it to mop the sink water puddles after wudu? And could I get the requirements for Pakistani citizenship quick before I change my mind? And last time it's Pak as in Glock and Stan as in Swan and I like me in between. But where did dad learn to love blazing saddles? And what melody is it in his head in the shower behind the wheel after supper? And how will he ever manage to stone all my new friends to death? And does anyone else find his smile like a scimitar? And do his friends remember him? Did he make them laugh? Did they soften him? And is he scared of that knife above? And who murmurs suicide to my brother? And how much bad news must I break? And how many debts can mom assume? And how long until we all pull the plug? And what will next year's summer feel like? And are we dogs? And would you believe they cannot halt the spread of the fires? And thank God we all died when we did. And what? And oh, how cruel is this pretty sunset? This next one is called Eraser. It was published by Heavy Feather Review, and I'm really grateful for that. They erased me yesterday. After they took up the gavel, hammered the sound block, the wheel set into motion. They assembled their people into teams, notary publics, solicitors general, coders, flamethrowers, telephone and wrecking ball operators. It was quite early the morning they commenced. A sky still the blue pink of gloveless winter hands. Quite quiet. I don't know what to do. The new stamps came in the mail this afternoon. Some of them swung metal scrapers and they scraped off the glass any reference to me. They worked fast, worked without breaking for lunch, for water, for cramped fingers and calves to slacken. They switched off. They got in the corners with tongue tips dabbing their upper lips as they focused on the task at hand. I don't know what comes next. They are laughing when not nodding to demonstrate comprehension of the orders given them by the white collars upstairs. They move out and sweep floor to floor, house to house, block to block, state to state. They have a spring in their steps because they have been granted permission to reify what they love, which is erasing. No, I did see them coming. Yes, I stood simply where I stood when they came with their buckets of paint and lawyer brigade. They prowled forth on foot, in uniform. They flowed right past me, some invisible rivers, common flotsam. Certain of them spritzed me with a chemical fluid, but this, I was assured, had nothing to do with what was to come, what ended yesterday for me, and not only me. And I was saluted. No clue why. Really, only one of them did, then fell into formation. The moments spent in their presence are moments spent in the pens of wild boars raised to abide humans when their stomachs are full. I am not sure what I will do now, just as I was not sure what to do then, when they hung the sign that read, "Today is a new day." But I am still here. Their shredders and their rots are still hungry. They roar for more, being good at what they do. For Halloween, I'm going as me, and they will never guess. They have already forgotten who I was. The forgetting who I was their favorite aspect of erasing. In this, we share a sentiment, admittedly. For Halloween, I will go as me. Every other day, who I used to be. The me they fixed beneath a bright white blank sheet. They punched holes for air. Who knows who they are? If they care, if names with their personal belongings get boxed somewhere. They who are painting the leaves today, this one pearl, that one pitch, who are singing all in a good day's work. They who will never ever find the likes of me again, who tomorrow will utterly fail to place what it is that whips them and whips them into this state of panic, what it is that makes us laugh the ghost laugh and dance the dance of open secrets. This next one is called Rude Health, and it's in the newest issue of Diagram. I took my death in my hands and stroked its fur coat. I wanted to calm it down by giving it things it never had before breaking the news. It was a her, and when grown to adulthood, would be pain-free. I showed it the candle burning on the lopside of my desk. I showed it patience by giving it a lit cigarette and an overview of American politics that made no sense, though it was understood to be founded on choices and other things I could not manage, as I would not let her roam. I still had time cooing in its ear to nurse her back to health. I gave her an odd assortment, my liver ounce by ounce, my lungs from the inside out, which made her hiss and spit and claw up my skin. And over time, if she kept that up, I would have no alternative but to lie her up to the whims of a perfect stranger. Knowing she would not like that in the slightest, I had to exercise caution. I was inclined toward pursuing projects I understood to be ill-suited for my skill set, such as those requiring a strict adherence to schedules so as to meet the long shot goals in mind that were not mine at all, but spectacularly hers, such as running a paw along the pelt of a purring death wish, such as gunning down a blind alley, such as putting her down and letting the inevitable go hunt its prey. On tilt. Against me, the house, always winning. Raw deals compel my hand to shake paws with any sharp that hails me. I can't afford caution yellow. I'll bet that crude school bus is a balloon, a stuffed saber tooth, steered by a red mutineer, a Jane. How I heave my body into traffic's most promising lane. I forget the weight and balance of a club. Having strayed from all that for what felt a more sound investment in the long run, I heard it was just as fun, like a magical vase you replenish with your dread's 4 o'clock flowers. That one spring I'll sing and splash in virtue's fountains of hazard. I'd wager, like any gambit, any listing Maersk freighter, my weird luck drifts, darkens, too true to be good, too deep to skim. Its gold holds a swindle when bit, I'm afraid. Lord, if you're free, I know it's not your department, but I miss your deck of playing cards, the one with only red suits, only diamonds, only hearts. That one was published by Whiskey Tip, which I'm very grateful for. I've got a couple more, and these are new ones. This one's called Washing of Hands Then as Minor. Washing of the hands then as minor, or perhaps more than that, tragedy. When I had to let my father go, let slip from my sweat lacquered grip his earth maple death soft palm, I felt as I do now, soaping up the fingers, careful about the underbed of each nail, scouring until mine are soft as his. The potion that made me must now be baptized in disinfectant for 20 seconds. A surprise goodbye to a vital, though diseased, branch of my blood, rinsing him off, which the litter of calico kittens stashed beneath my neighbor's lava rock nestled poplar never seemed to bother with, as mother cat casually licked off what they must have instinctually known, would not at all regard her useless, though still meaning-born, gestures of love. We must part ways at some point with what may be. The most nourishing roots all rot to leave us here, limb cupped like a nest, incognizant of what all beauty, and thus perhaps all pain, and all the wilderness seasoning the touch, compelling you into a sky now so pale, I'm left counting her veins. This last one is called Go Me. It's kind of a pep talk or something. Granted, the castle's east wall is falling into the sea. Swallows have ravaged the squash crop she planted back when thoughts of leaving seemed gone for good. The cut losses took the car somehow down with them, and your index bruised breastbone smarts. Yeah. And here you are, tweezing out shards of bone arrowhead in the shower, working joints, crying for a squirt of WD-40, stuck on how brightly you once burnt. Haunting Ace Hardwares, you went from limited edition to bargain bin, all sales final, mind bowling ball heavy with conundrum and crude designs of payback via pickaxe, still. A dozen years since you heard this untunable piano with the claw pedals fun to stomp. You can't read the guidebook, the warnings, the boilerplate letter of decline with combat boots still laced in that siege mentality of little use. But here the statistical odds of a turn upon Solomon's throne, succeeding at raising that healer upright, are akin to raising dead weight in priestesses, an objection, Cain, the sun, a fucking flower, the shy one you bet on. And okay, you still don't know your place any more than back when school still meant Abercrombie cliques and Lugan cemeteries, lousy with skaters, and a French kiss if you could simply afford to sit still for a minute after hours with her, whose dad was a narc and lumberjack games contestant and spoke thick suburb, but still of all grunted hello when certain you didn't literally puff or still wet the twin bed like you did as a kid, afraid of strange male boots downstairs. Who's older now, having trouble, but who isn't still a mere pinhead into Wolverine and scaling dogwoods to untangle from a mother's field of warm energy, still flickering with the old blue gaslight of love and promise, or at least blood you dutifully kept lit in a glass prism that housed a locket which rattled with the claws of stray cats endlessly puling to be let out at night. So chin up, you have that going for you. Who talks to cacti, who runs from a flashlight moon, who is melting cheesecake with a blue flare to a dagger, who is someone's birthday's midnight. Bless the still good leftovers in the chest freezer because they'll always be good, and still so will you, who lost a heart to a wild broken gale, and you're feeling the pocks and pits of your basement for the fuse box, or honestly, when they all forget, the deal goes pear-shaped. The smell still plagues the rug you can't always get up from, or whose mildewed funk you still secretly huff for the attic visions it brings, which smack hard as still photos of you viewed too soon or after a long time or with a foreigner's haircut, but still are you, and so you fit your chills for concrete shoes to keep still on that shore. But still you find the winter's petrified starlight and the croak of the truck door and the streaks of blue still there salt, are a bit like you, are sort of crystal enough to pass as semi-precious if you squint, and pretty amazing close up if you stay.
Thank you, Tariq. To find more of Tariq's work online, visit his website, which we'll post in the chat. And a big thank you again to all of tonight's readers. A thank you to our captioner and ASL interpreters. And a big thank you to all of you for watching tonight's reading.